In the last chapter, we spoke about 8 qualities we need to cultivate and develop within ourselves to be happier people with freedom from anger. Similarly, in this lesson, we are going to talk about 8 qualities which we need to avoid at all costs if we are to be happy and if we are to be free from anger as soon as possible. Because these qualities we are going to talk about now are the qualities inside you which is acting as barriers to your freedom from anger. And this is a very important part of this course. And similarly, like you did for the 8 qualities we need to develop in ourselves, you need to take a pen and paper and note these 8 qualities we need to avoid. Because this is another activity for your daily routine. You need to recite these 8 qualities every day in the morning and evening aloud, not silent in your mind, aloud, so that you can hear yourself and promise yourself that you won't break them. And you need to tick this in the checklist. And merely reciting these 8 qualities and promising yourself that you are going to stick to these promises is nothing if you don't put any effort towards actually avoiding them for real. So you need to put in as much effort as possible from now onwards to keep these 8 qualities away from your life as much as possible. And similarly, what you did with the 8 qualities of happy people, you need to memorize these 8 qualities to avoid as well. And you might think here, oh, you have so many things to memorize. Trust me, guys, this is nothing. We are underestimating our memory all the time because of technology. We have an unbelievable memorizing power if we just use it. Memorizing is by itself using your mind and activating the different parts of your brain. You're stimulating different parts of your brain by trying to memorize stuff. When was the last time you tried to memorize anything? Think about how many telephone numbers you remember of your best friends or even family members. I'm pretty sure you can't even remember at least 4 or 5 of them. So now you realize we have come so far from using our brains that our brains have slowly become blunt. By doing these exercises in this course, you are not only extinguishing your anger, but also sharpening your brains at the same time. It is so easy to memorize these 8 qualities to avoid, trust me. But you may need to stick it on the wall to remind yourself for the first couple of days, and once you have recited them for a couple of days, you will easily remember them. The first quality you need to promise yourself that you are going to avoid is refraining from hurting any living being, physically or mentally. Because look at yourself. Do you like to be hurt by anyone else, physically or mentally for that matter? No, we don't like to be hurt ourselves, so please, we need to refrain from hurting other people or any animal for that matter. And you know, there's a saying, what goes around comes around. And trust me, when it comes around, it doesn't look pretty. The second quality we need to promise ourselves to refrain from is stealing anything. When I say anything, it is anything and everything. These days, it's so easy to steal stuff, especially from the internet. We steal people's ideas, we steal people's livelihoods, and it's so easy we might even do them without knowing. And usually, who are the people who steal? People who steal are the scum of the society. Sometimes they might look rich, but actually, what are they? They're the scum of the society. So don't be poor. Don't be that poor person who is going to steal. Don't be the scum of society by stealing anything. The next thing we need to promise ourselves is that we are going to stick to one partner. And this is a huge issue in our society today. If you look around you, if you look within your friend circles, there are so many cheating people out there. And if you're a cheater, you can't expect to be happy. So if you have done it in the past, doesn't matter, it's in the past. But you need to promise yourself from now onwards, you're going to stick to one partner. And if you can't be freaking faithful, you're going to stick to yourself, and that's it. And this is very important. And the next quality, which is acting as a huge barrier between us and freedom from anger, is lies. Some people only lie throughout the day. They lie for simple things, they lie for that, they lie for this. That's the only thing they do. So don't be a Pinocchio. You need to tell yourself that you are not going to tell lies from now on. And liars are not happy people, trust me. And the next quality we need to avoid is being a reason for tearing people apart, tearing friends apart, tearing loved ones apart. And there's so many people in society who listens to someone and goes to another person and say that in the same way or in a different way with the intention of tearing those two people apart. And some people really enjoy doing this. That is just because they are miserable. And some people mainly do this out of jealousy. You can see this happening in some families as well. If the wife doesn't like the husband being close to his mother, the wife can from morning to evening say the worst things about the mother and try to tear the husband away from his mother. Similarly, if the husband doesn't like the wife's mother, he might do the same thing. That is tearing people apart. If you have this quality, you need to avoid doing it right now. Starting, if you have done it in the past, doesn't really matter. Whatever is in the past is in the past. You can't change it. But you need to promise yourself from today onwards, you are going to refrain from tearing people apart. And the next quality you need to promise yourself you are going to refrain from is using harsh words. How many people out there can't finish a single sentence without using the F word? I was guilty of this as well. So a trick I used was to replace the F word with another word. For example, like fishing. And with time, you will realize you can get rid of harsh words. And this is also involved in using any words which hurts other people. You can use normal words in a harsh way with a harsh intention. So from now onwards, you need to promise yourself no matter what, you are going to refrain from using harsh words, especially towards your partner or children. And you need to be truthful and you need to be sincere when promising these things. And the next quality we need to avoid at all costs is gossiping. You will see for yourself the first thing many people do when they meet their friends is they start to gossip. This is common in women as well as in men. People can gossip for hours and hours at a time. And little do they know that the people you are gossiping with are the same people who would gossip about you with other people. So you need to refrain from gossiping, and from now onwards, you need to talk about important things. If you open your mouth to speak, you need to talk important stuff. You don't open your mouth to blabber and say useless stuff, because happy people don't gossip. People who are free from anger don't gossip. They only speak when it is required. They only speak kind words. They never say bad things about other people with someone else. And they definitely don't say bad things or mistakes of other people to someone else unless that person who has done the mistake is present there. So you need to cultivate these qualities and refrain from gossiping. And here comes one of the most important things. One of the biggest enemies of happiness and one of the biggest allies of anger is alcohol. Have you ever wondered why liquor companies are billion-dollar companies? Because people are delusional, thinking that alcohol is essential for happiness. It has been the ultimate myth throughout the century. And even today, we are cognitively conditioned by the society to believe that there is no happiness without alcohol. You can't have fun without alcohol. So you need to make a choice whether you want to be from anger or enjoy a bitter tasting liquid for the rest of your life, keeping you miserable. And trust me, I was here. And so many families are dysfunctional because of drinking. And you need to understand that marketing is the way these alcohol companies trap you and cognitively condition you that you need to have alcohol in your blood to be happy. It is funny that people need to have a drink before they do the things they love. Sometimes you drink so much that you don't enjoy it or even remember it. What a shame. So please take it from a person who thought double black was the ultimate happiness. So please take it from a person who thought double black was happiness. Trust me, it is not. It is worse because when you are under the influence of alcohol, you have no control over your mindfulness. If you are determined to be free of anger, you need to let go of alcohol. And I know that most of you will think, no, I can't, because we are so attached to alcohol. But we need to take a step back and think, why are we attached to alcohol so much? Does it taste good? Definitely not. We are attached to that feeling of losing control of ourselves. That is what we are attached to. And if we are attached to losing control, that means we are attached to being miserable with anger. There's no difference between the two of them. So from today, you can try the things you love, you can do the things you enjoy without alcohol, and you will realize for yourself those things you enjoy are more enjoyable without alcohol. And those things you do, what you love without alcohol, you will cherish them in your memory for a long time. So you need to promise yourself every day, morning and evening, that you are going to put your best effort to refrain from drinking. You will refrain from taking alcohol, because you need to understand and get into your system that alcohol doesn't bring you happiness. As I mentioned in the last chapter, if anyone in the past was genuinely happy without anger, and if anyone is going to be genuinely happy without anger in the future, they have cultivated those 8 important qualities in their lives. In the last chapter, we spoke about how we recite those 8 qualities of happy people silently in our minds. When I say silently, you just close your eyes and you just think about those 8 qualities of happy people. But in this activity, it is important to promise yourself aloud that you are going to keep away from them. And trust me, once you see the results, you will do it for a very, very long time. Remember the example about the person who had only eaten bread in his entire lifetime? So once he tastes cake, he will never believe that bread is tastier than cake. It is the same with this course. So please put in the effort. Please make sure you do these activities in the checklist as you learn, and tick the checklist daily. They hardly take time compared to the results you would be getting by doing them. And once you achieve your goal, you look back and you'll be so thankful you let go of these 8 qualities you need to avoid. You'll be so thankful that you develop these 8 qualities happy people free from anger developed in themselves, that you will never look back at any of this wrong stuff. You'll never look back at doing these silly and shameful things in your life again. So similarly, like we did last week, this is the last chapter you are going to go through before going through the course again for 7 days. Trust me guys, this process is extremely important for what's coming next. If you don't follow this procedure, you might get overwhelmed with what you need to do later. Just imagine trying to learn how to shoot a machine gun with skinny arms. You can't. Before firing the machine gun, you need to build muscle. This is the same. By logging entries in the EYA diary, practicing metta, and by practicing impermanence, by reciting the 8 qualities of happy people silently in your minds every morning and evening, and reciting these 8 qualities to avoid promising yourself, you're building muscle to be strong enough to fire the machine gun towards anger, and to be free from anger, to extinguish your anger, to be that happier person. There won't be a break like this in this course again. It is go, go, go from next week. So enjoy this time and do these simple activities to the best of your ability. Put in the effort. Also, I encourage you to go through the past chapters multiple times if necessary and take down notes. It will give you a strong baseline to achieve your results fast when we start new routines after the next 7 days. Also, the more log entries you have in your EYA diary, the more it's going to help you to achieve your goal as well. You need to keep your goal in front of you. What is your goal? Your goal is to extinguish your anger. If your goal is to extinguish your anger, you need to do these activities. And I can't stress enough how important the EYA diary is. You don't need to really get angry to log entries. If you come across anything you dislike, you need to log it. Try to log at least 10 a day. I'm sure you will come across at least 10 dislikes every day. For example, you watch a movie and you dislike the villain in the movie, log it as well. If you don't keep on logging your dislike incidents, you may not see the results others would get from this course. So don't be that person who loses out. And don't forget, you also need to practice metta meditation and impermanence meditation for at least 10 minutes each day. You can do one in the morning and do one in the evening. And you need to silently reflect on the 8 qualities you need to become a happy and angerless person. You also need to recite aloud the 8 promises you need to give yourself on a daily basis to avoid habits and qualities which really hurts the real happiness in your life. From next week onwards, you will have more activities to do towards our path to extinguish our anger. So please do the work and don't forget to take the checklist every day, because it's very important. Use the checklist as a reminder. Use your phone for reminders. And don't fall out of this course. As I mentioned in the last chapter, winners are not quitters. And quitters never win. And with that said, I'll see you in 7 days.